You're known for your Ayurvedic products, Vivek, but what we find very, very impressive is that you combine scientific formulae with Ayurveda. Tell us about the brand's R&D and the formulation of these progressive products.
So, we have, so there are two parts to it. One is we work with the classical Ayurvedic formulation because that's the base for all our products. Okay. So the classical, whether it's the Kumkumadi Thailam, the Nili Vringadi oil, the Nal Pramadi, these are all words actually were not even out in the general, how do you say it, vocabulary until we sort of pushed this out there. Now they're pretty well known and there are tons of other people doing the same thing or trying to do the same thing anyway. But one of the things was, it's all very well to say this is efficacious. What's the proof? So we actually went out and did clinical trials for each of these products with different age groups, with men and women, to actually see if these products worked. So this is one part of it. So there's the classical formulations, which we did clinical trials to make sure, and the classical formulations were adjusted by us because obviously a lot of them are meant for specific skin issues. So we adjusted them to suit, make them all tridosha, all skin types, all tridosha basically. And we adjusted them and then tested them, did the clinical trials. So we had to do all the tests, obviously for allergies, etc., stability, all of those things. And so there's a scientific proof to show that these things work. And then there are the Ayurveda derived products. And that's where the real innovation is, where we basically will take this formulation, which is an oil, and actually make it into a cream with a very high concentration, because the higher the active, the higher the concentration, the more effective the cream is, So if I put in 12% active, it's more effective than putting in 5% active, So the issue, of course, is the higher the active, the lower the shelf life. So we basically had to come to a midpoint where you say I'm going to have a 2-year shelf life and not a 3-year shelf life, but I will have a higher active and I will have a cleaner, Also, the other thing was to have an absolutely clean product. So, I cannot use the normal preservatives that people would use. I'm trying to use a food grade or very, very mild preservative systems, so that I'm trying to, keep the nomenclature of an EU certified clean product. And those certifications keep changing all the time. So every year there's a new list of banned substances or to be banned substances. So it's almost like a trade barrier. So you have to keep cleaning the product up constantly. So there's a huge amount of innovation that goes into it, which is why mostly it would take us about 2 to 3 years to develop a new product by the time we brought it out to market. So there's a lot in the pipeline. By the time they started coming out, obviously, as a small company with limited resources, it was very slow. Over the years now, obviously, we've got more money, we've got funding, we've got a larger R&D department. So the process is speeded up.
Minding My Business, the CEO story with Ramesh Menon and Hrishi K.